Sometimes I feel like my only friend is the city I live in, the city of angels. Lonely as I am, together we cry.
All right, we're sitting on the steps of City Hall with Kip Billups. He was formerly homeless, and now he is an activist. And Kip, would you please tell us a little bit about your life, starting with being homeless?
Okay.
Where and when, how?
So I was pretty much homeless in my 20s, but I would, it's more like just couch surfing and living off people until I was 28, and then I joined the military, and I was in the military for about 7 years. I passed every test they gave me till they gave me a piss test, and they no longer needed my services. I was clean off drugs, but not alcohol. The first part of my Navy career, but I took a job as a recruiter in Los Angeles. I almost immediately started doing drugs again. It caught up with me, and then I got kicked out, and that started my journey to what I would call real homelessness, as in not having people's couches to sleep on or people putting me up. And for 10 years, my disease progressed, alcoholism, drug addiction, use, whatever you want to call it. It progressed, and I went from switching apartments and condos when I was a recruiter for the Navy, switching sober livings and shelters, and in the end, I was switching jail cells and street corners. I became homeless in Los Angeles. Eventually, I didn't start there, but I ended up on Skid Row, Los Angeles. That's what you tourists call it, Skid Row. If you live, no one calls it that there. That's just a tourist expression. It's called the Nickel because 5th Street 5 runs all the way through it, and I lived on the Nickel on Skid Row, just homeless and crazy. And unlike a lot of people, people have different stories on how they ended up there. But I'm going to tell you, I got to the point where I wanted to go to Skid Row. I wanted the kind of freedom that I saw these people had, which is all they did was get high. Didn't have to answer to anybody, no car payments, no house payments, no cell phone payments, just getting high. So, and that went on. I was homeless, and wow, it's a convoluted story. But in 2012, after 10 years of going to 12-step fellowships, I got sober. 9 months into sobriety, I had a white light experience, and just kind of changed the course of my life. Sober there for about 2.5 years. My 95-year-old grandmother asked me if I would move back to Amarillo, that she wanted to spend time with me. Loved my grandmother, but honestly, I'm thinking, okay, she's 95. I'll be there for 2, maybe 3 years. You know, she's 95. How long could she possibly live? And I'll be back to Los Angeles. Well, she lived to be a month shy of 103, 102 years old, and that was 2022. And by the time she passed, I had no desire whatsoever to move back to Los Angeles whatsoever. But when I moved here in 2015, I was going to 12-step meetings a whole lot, still am to this day. But I thought I needed to be doing something more. So my first year here, I was going to Randall County Jail once a week for 52 weeks, taking meetings, 12-step meetings in there. And at the end of the year of 2016, I need to expand. I need to do something more. This didn't seem to be sufficient. So it was recommended I go down to the park, where I met some people. Food Not Bombs. Food Not Bombs was feeding that day. A guy named Chris Seawright, who, ironically enough, it turns out we're related because his son married my stepsister's kid. So we're not blood, but distantly related. And I met Chris Seawright, who was not Food Not Bombs, but an organization I don't want to mention for reasons. But he was pretty much running that, and they were feeding people that day, and I'm like, wow, this is great. So I thought I want to do this. So but then Chris said we only were doing that with Food Not Bombs because we had all this meat. That's another story too. Food Not Bombs is not meat; it's vegan, but they had anyway. So he says, well, "No, we don't normally do that." I said, "Well, where are all the homeless people? I want to feed the homeless people." And Chris gave me a couple of places. It used to be called Loser Alley, right across from old Faith City Mission. He talked about that alley and the park that we were at, and then behind the convenience store up there. I can't think of the name.
It's V&M.
V&M. Thank you very much. I need help on that one. Pretty much places I already knew about. So I remember it was a Sunday, and I was sitting around. I was pulling up stuff on the homeless. I saw something where someone from the Salvation Army said we coddle our homeless, and I thought I was very offended by that. And like, we coddle our homeless here in Amarillo.
Yeah, right.
And then I didn't hear a voice, but it was like a thought that came in my head, and it was like, Kip, what are you doing to help the homeless here? So I went out and I got enough peanut butter and bread to make about 50 sandwiches. Peanut butter sandwiches. Got some like high C type drink and Sunny Delight. That's it. And some peanut butter crackers. I got 50 of them, and I thought there was probably like 3 or 4 homeless people in Amarillo. They probably weighed about 400 to 600 pounds of fees because all the churches, they must be feeding them. And I wasn't seeing any homeless people, but when I started going around these places, they came out of the woodwork, like out of nowhere. And the food ran out so quick. I was only going to do it that one day. I'll probably get the date wrong, but August of 2016, the first day I ran out sandwiches. I was only going to do it one time just to get an idea where the homeless were, just so I could say I did it, whatever. And the food went so fast, I went, well, shit, I better do it again tomorrow. So I did it again the next day, and the same thing happened. And we never stopped feeding people since August 18th, 20th, 21st of 2016. So we're coming up on 9 years this year. 9 years of feeding people every day.
How many homeless people do you think are in Amarillo right now?
I don't know. I'm a bad person to ask.
Yeah.
You really need to probably ask some, and there's so many different ways you measure homeless.
We're 13th, though, in the nation of the per capita.
It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And what happened after I started doing it for a while, and I finally got around to all the places and figured out how to, dole out the food. People started saying like, "Hey, man, don't tell anybody, but there's a lady over there that lives in a tent with her 2 kids, and she doesn't want child services." They trusted me, and I said, "Man, I'm not going to say nothing. I wouldn't say nothing." And so I met even more people, and then I just became friends with them. They're my friends. So that was Amarillo Brown Bag Run. Started August of 2016, last year. I'm a co-founder. I always give credit to, I might have been the one who started that thing, but there wouldn't be any Amarillo Brown Bag Runs without Jeff and Jenna Parker, who have just been the backbone of the organization. Made so much meals, coordinated so many things. It's unbelievable. And then last year, I got with a guy named Kelly Arrington, which we call, Kelly Jose. His nickname is Jose. I have no idea why. And anyway, I'm gonna have to go back on that. It wasn't I can't even think. His name's Kelly, damn it. Anyway, so I consider him a co-founder because he was making all this hot food for me, and I was running out with brown bag runs. Well, it was becoming more, I don't want to say a burden, but a lot more work. And it seemed like the smart thing to do was we started another organization, and we started that in 2024, excuse me. And that was High Plains Love and Service Incorporated, where we run out hot foods to homeless people. Since that time, we had a lot of food coming in from James Bellar, Bellar. He's a really good guy. A lot of hot food coming from him. Kelly would make pulled pork and brisket sandwiches, and we just run that out whenever we had food. When James came into the picture, he was a godsend. Gave us a